Welcome to another episode here on Your Digital Makeover. My name is Jerry Colbert, and in today's episode, we're going to be talking about how you can set targets for your categories. And it's all coming up next. So in today's episode, we're going to discuss how you can set targets for specific goals that you might want with your categories. So as you see here, I have opened up YNAB, and as my previous video, we talked about, this is the account section over here for your accounts, your banking accounts, your credit card accounts, or what have you. And then over in this area is the budget, okay? And we talked about each individual thing and how I have it set up for myself. Now, of course, you might be different. You might have different categories in your life. Set that up how you desire. But in this episode, we're just going to focus on setting targets, because you have to set targets. Otherwise, you're not really accomplishing anything if you have no idea how much money you need to spend in a certain category. So that's what we need to do. So in this episode, we're going to focus on that. So as you see here, if you remember my last episode, I had set a target for my groceries, right? And I set a target of $600 by the end of the month. And this is the area that you would use to set those targets. Now, if you have never set a target, it's going to look like this. It's going to say create a vitamins and supplement target for this vitamin supplement. So maybe I have maybe I spend about $80 a month on my vitamins and supplements, okay? So what we do here is we just create a vitamins and supplement target, and there's different target types. There's needed for spending, and if you open this up, this drop-down menu, you'll see needed for spending is for groceries, holidays, vacations, fund up to an amount with the ability to spend from it along the way. We also have a target type of savings balance, which is for down payment emergency fund. Save this amount over time and maintain the balance by replenishing any money spent. Then we have a monthly savings builder, which is a savings goal with unknown targets. Maybe you just want to save $5 a month until you figure out what the target's going to be for that item. So you contribute this amount every month, no matter what, until you disable this target. And then also you have a monthly debt payment, and this is used for mortgage, student loans, auto loans, etc. Budget for your payments until you're debt free. So these are your target types right here. Okay. So I'm going to choose needed for spending, and then I'm going to go ahead and put in $80. Okay. And I use needed for spending on mostly my monthly expenses, things that I know are going to happen every month. Okay. There are other times I use it for quarterly spending and such, or maybe even yearly spending. And then I use savings balance for emergency funds and down payments on stuff. Monthly savings builder I use occasionally if I want to build up something like maybe a replacement fund for furniture or appliances or whatever. I might do that if I don't have any idea of how much I'm going to want to fund that for. It's really like an emergency type of fund as well. But for right now, we're just going to focus on needed for spending. Okay. So I say I'm going to need $80 a month. So I select month, and you can select what day of the month you want that $80 by. I usually leave it on last day of the month because I never know when I'm actually going to purchase my vitamins. It might be in the middle of the month, it might be, towards the end of the month. Who really knows? So just whenever my vitamins run out. So I usually just leave that on last day of the month. Now you can also select it by weekly. I typically don't use weekly except in extreme circumstances. I used to use it for my tithing. I would set a weekly goal on tithing because I get paid weekly, so therefore I tithe weekly. And I also have a monthly tithe that I do as well. So you can utilize weekly, but most of my stuff is actually utilizing the monthly. Unless, of course, there's a yearly expense like, what's yearly? Oh, yeah, auto registration, something like that. I might choose yearly. Okay. Or even subscriptions. That's another yearly thing, right? But in this situation, I'm going to use monthly, and then I just hit Save Target. So now, as you see here, right here, I have where it says $80 needed by the 30th. Give me a little clue. Now, also, I would like to mention that I have progress bars set to on. And what that does is it gives me this handy dandy little graph across here. You see this gray bars right here? So if I plug in that I'm going to fund this account $50 right now, it'll show me how far along I am to my fully funding that line item, that category, right? And you see it says $30 more needed by the 30th. But as right now, I'm just going to leave that alone, and I'm going to pick another one. Now let's take a look at eating out. I'm going to hit create eating out target. Maybe I want to spend $30 a month eating out. Or maybe I want to say I want to spend $15 weekly eating out. I save that target. Voila. So now it says I need $60 needed this month. And if you notice, it's kind of hard to see probably on this computer, but these are broken up into chunks. 4 chunks because there's 4 weeks in this month. Well, actually there's 5 paychecks for me, but it might only be 4 weeks in this month. So it's going to do that. Now some months have 5 weeks. If you have it ending on a Sunday, like I had chose this weekly to end on every Sunday. So it put 4 slots here. And so what that does is, let's say I go ahead and I say, well, I'm going to fund this $15. You see it filled in that 1 slot. And now I know I got 3 more weeks to go here. And $45 more needed for that funding. Okay. And so as you see now, since I have this one right here, which is a credit card, saying that I need to pay, I need to fund this or assign money to it for $38.47. And you see this one says 600, this one says 80, this one says 60, right? So that's where you come up with your underfunded of $778.47. And so that's typically how I go ahead and assign money. So let's say, for instance, I want to spend $30 a month on car wash. Boom. It's just that simple, right? I go down to the next one, fuel. Maybe I want to spend $200 a month in fuel. Boom. It's just done. You just go right down the list. Auto registration. Maybe I do that once a year in November. Okay. So what I'll do here is I'll say auto registration is $50. I have no idea what it is. I'm just plugging in a number. Yearly. I just select yearly. And when do I want it by? Well, I said November, right? So I go here to November 1st. I want it fully funded by November 1st because I don't know. I know it falls in November sometime, but when? Who knows? So I want it funded by November 1st, right? So I hit Save Target. Boom. $50 needed by November 1st. So as you see, I'm in November. So boom. It says that I need to pay or put in $50 in the assigned. But let's say, for instance, I already did this back in July, did my registration, right? So maybe the next one is in July. So I can go forward it to July 1st and hit Save Target. Now look what it does. It says $5.56 needed this month. So it took in consideration where I'm at right now and how many months it is till July 1st, and it just prorated that to $5.56 a month until I reach my goal. Maintenance and auto, maybe do the same thing on that. Repairs, tickets, tolls, I can just go in and set those. Like tickets, I have no idea if I'm going to get a ticket this year. So maybe I choose on that to have that saved as an emergency fund, because wouldn't a ticket sort of be an emergency? Because you don't really expect to get a ticket. So maybe I want to save like $200 by December 24th. Okay. Boom. So it says I need to save $14.29 each month. And I'm just guessing, you know. A lot of times I like to set these targets at the beginning of the year and for that year. So therefore I know how much I need to save that year. Now, of course, if I don't spend it, it still stays there. So everything's cool until the next year, right? So this is how I utilize my targets. Now, like I say, you do need to set targets in order to make all this work, because you got to know how much you're going to want to spend in each of your categories. It's very, very important to set these up so you have an idea where your dollars need to be spending. So I would probably sit down with a piece of paper and jot down everything that you have. Maybe you got another budgeting app that you've been using and you kind of have an idea of how much you spend on groceries, kind of have an idea how much you spend on fuel. Just write all that stuff down and get those targets set, and then set those targets inside of YNAB so you have a clear picture of how much money you're going to spend on your categories. Okay? So I know this is a short episode, but I just want to go over that real quick with y'all. If you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment right down below. And if you like this video, make sure you give me a thumbs up. And if you want to subscribe to this channel to see more of these episodes in the near future, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. And with that being said, I want to wish you all a wonderful week, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Take care.